What is up, starseeds? I am Sydalexandria, and today we are going to be talking about Lyra, specifically what I call the Churches of Lyra. So, you guys might have seen videos I've done in the past where I talk about Lyra and Vega as kind of two very separate cultures, even though Vega is the brightest star in the Lyran constellation. But so we are going to be talking about the churches of Lyra today, and when I say churches, I don't mean religious churches. I mean more of these spiritual centers where people get together to learn things, basically. So when I tap into the energy of Lyra, that more other than Vega part of Lyra, the majority of Lyra, that has the beings who look like intelligent walking, talking lions, that have the beings that look pretty human, kind of Pleiadian, like a more perfect version of a human, maybe with some glowing kind of skin. Or the hybrids between the human-looking Lyrans and the lion-looking Lyrans that are basically humans with strong or sort of strong feline features depending on how far on the spectrum of lion and human-looking they are. But so we're talking about that part of Lyra today and these buildings. So Lyra, I believe, was seeded, manifested, created, designed by the Andromeda Galaxy. And so Lyra was just kind of boop, like plopped there. So it wasn't like Arcturus, which kind of naturally, slowly over a long span of time evolved. And like the Andromeda Galaxy, which I believe for the most part just naturally like evolved over a long span of time and got to be super diverse because that's a whole freaking galaxy. But so Lyra, it feels like bloop, like plopped there, super intelligent. You want a building there, boom, there it is. They, really being Andromeda Galaxy, and then therefore Lyrans, understood that if you want something like, for instance, water, you've got a hydrogen molecule. It's over there. I feel it. That many miles or kilometers or whatever away. Like bloop, pull it in. With this like ability to, like telekinesis, and then the mental ability to know where it is, and then the ability to put the hydrogen, put the oxygen together the right way. If you want a building, it's the same concept. There's this metal over there, there's this element over there, this and that. Pull them together, put them together the correct way, like build them, blah, 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 blah. It was like instant manifestation, basically. So they took their time to design these buildings. They had like amazing intentions behind it and all of that, but it was basically like bloop. And Lyrans did not need buildings. Like in Vega, I don't really feel like there were any buildings. It was just woodsy, foresty, whimsical, bunch of friends hanging out, manifesting. Lyra, it was more family oriented, although their bodies I don't think needed sleep, food, shelter, bathrooms. Like they didn't need that, but they were like, buildings look nice, we can set intentions for what we want to do in these certain buildings and these certain centers. We do different things in different buildings. They're, for a different group of the community or what have you. But so these buildings, most of them were these Lyran, I call them churches. And so in these buildings, and it wasn't just in these buildings, you could do this anywhere. Like Lyrans, it's the ability that we're talking about really, but I'm titling this video like the Churches of Lyra because that's where this happened on a large scale. But so Lyrans had this ability where they could, boom, like present this soul memory that they had. And so we've already talked about how a lot of Lyrans, their souls were previously incarnated mainly in Andromeda Galaxy, and so they had a lot of those memories of Andromeda. And there was these other Lyrans who maybe are coming from this super far away galaxy, this super far away place, maybe some memories of Arcturus or like early day Sirius, Orion a little bit possibly, or these elemental lives or these dragon lives from somewhere else, or these lives as doll people or what have you. But so Lyrans had this ability to show soul memories, and they remembered their past lives. In my video on like the spectrum of forgetfulness, Lyrans, they had a great soul memory capacity because they're super high vibe, right? So they could share soul memories. You didn't want to blast somebody with all of your soul's memories because that would be way too much information at one time. That would be super overwhelming, right? So they pick and choose. Kids could do this with their friends. Like little lyran children could be like, oh yeah, here's all of the emotion, all of the feeling, all of like the physical, emotional, spiritual sensation of this event that happened to me. Here's that memory. And so if the other person was open to receiving it, they would feel all of that. So in these lyran churches, I believe there were people who picked certain people who had these really important, impactful, powerful soul memories that are maybe unique or maybe kind of showcase a certain lesson or part of existence that would be nice to present to people on this large scale. So there was people who picked like the curriculum for church. And then there were these priests, priestesses who were kind of regulars who presented certain sometimes memories, sometimes just kind of telepathic lectures. But most of the church were these presenters, okay, that presented certain soul memories, and those were priests and priestesses of Lyra. And eventually, there were people who decided that it would be nice to sing in church. So I believe a lot of the things that we do in certain religious buildings, not just Christianity, because like I'm not really Christian, but lots of different religions have these religious temple-like buildings, like churches, for instance, that we go to, and a lot of the times there's a priest or a priestess who is talking about a certain story from whatever religious text you're looking at, the Bible or whatever. You talk about one thing per day or a couple different little things that have a big impact per day. So that's what they did in these lyran churches. They would pick and choose a couple different life lessons that they wanted to present to people. And then the next day they would talk about something else. But eventually, once they got into singing in church too, they would sing these songs or make these vibrational frequencies that aligned with certain archetypes or certain life lessons or soul memories or what have you. I also believe there was possibly some instruments like a harp or something like that in Lyra. Lyra has lots of this golden, white harp, heavenly energy to it. Maybe this is just a vibe that I'm getting, but it's the vibe I'm getting. Take from this video what you will, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you guys are interested in getting a reading with me, like an Akashic Records past life reading, parallel future life reading, and just kind of overall astrology analysis and how this information is useful in your current life, what these soul themes and soul archetypes mean, reoccurring patterns, how they matter in this incarnation, because that is what is most important. Understanding why we do certain things, natural talents we have, just kind of soul tendencies, and how to integrate that into this life to make this life amazing, which it already is, but just to kind of align yourself with your soul's path and your soul's mission a bit more, just to kind of reevaluate and confirm that if you want. It's nice to get some clarity. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. You can email me. My email is sydalexandriaegypt@gmail.com. Giving readings to people is how I got this information about Lyra. Because yes, I have some of my own feelings just when I tap into that star system, maybe some of my own memories, but most of the information I get on galactic history, if you will, and the churches of Lyra especially, are from so many people's soul memories. That's why I wanted to do a video on the churches of Lyra, because this is a super popular memory that I see in so many people's Akashic records. Sometimes I get different perspectives on this. Like sometimes people were super into the singing in Lyra and I had no clue they sung in Lyra. Some people were super into the picking of the people as to who presented. Some people were super into presenting. Some people were super into loving to go to church and seeing all of those memories and receiving all of that. So that is how I got this information. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Peace.